Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That's the handle. Just go there and be a part of the conversation. Watch, listen, and share your thoughts with us. Let me quickly welcome my guest, Mr. Joe Johnson, Commissioner for Information. Sir, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Andrew, and good morning to Rivers people.
I think I should also say Happy New Month, because this would be the first time in October we are meeting. It's been a very busy one for you, so we've not had you around for a while.
Yes, Happy New Month and Happy Independence too.
Yes, Happy Independence. Where do we start? Okay, I think it would be ideal we begin from what's most pressing. That's what we just heard on the news now. And I wouldn't want to go too far. I'll just play a part of some of the things that was said by the FCT Minister in the course of his interview yesterday with regards to the destruction of properties in some of the secretariats across the state. This was a part of some of the things he said.
A governor came out on national television to tell the world, I will not obey court judgment. In fact, to crown it all, he said there was no way in the judgment that the court said the election should not hold. He went as far as to say, I do not need police before I conduct an election. When somebody says, I don't need police, what I say, I'm fighting violence. Hoodlums will take an opportunity, saying police will not be involved. In that case, who is the perpetrator of that violence? Governor is the architect of the violence.
All right, let's start with that and get your response to it. We know that an inquiry has been put up. We'll come to the panel of inquiry later, but first with this, because while I was watching this, I mean, the interviewer at the time was also trying to get the minister to say, well, perhaps what you're saying isn't exactly what the governor said, or the circumstance is different in how you're interpreting it. And the FCT minister repeated and said, no, this is what he said. You are the Commissioner for Information, and as that very close to the government and carry out, give out information about activities of government. What's your response to the position of the FCT minister here, saying this is what the governor said and is responsible for what happened?
No, he's mixing apple with mango. The truth of the matter is that the governor never ever said that he does not want the police. If you remember, on Friday morning, we woke up to the news that the Nigeria police said they were not going to partake in that electioneering process, that there is a subsisting judgment of a court from the Federal High Court, and that they were withdrawing. The governor had a battle early that morning, about 2 a.m., where there was an attempt to cut away the election materials, the sensitive materials. So if the police that ought to be at the middle of it appears to be one-sided, and just at the nick of time, at the time police was badly needed to be part of what we were doing, police decided to withdraw. It is police that withdrew. It was not the governor who asked the police to leave. The police withdrew on their own and came on air through releases. I mean, the governor said he got intel about that midnight of the day they withdrew, and then went ahead to
But some people would refer to the governor's outburst the night before, early in the morning. That was not even the night. At the research secretariat, where he said there's no place in the court that says the election should not be held.
That's a fact.
It only says don't provide security.
Beautiful.
And so if this is what you want to do, then leave your security. We'll conduct the elections.
That was what the governor said. Yes, that was the position of government.
Could that be what the FCT minister is interpreting?
We didn't say that. He's turning. That's what I'm saying. He's mixing up with mango. He's turning the story upside down. The truth of the matter was that the police said they were not going to partake, and the governor said no problem. If you're obeying the court order, the court didn't say don't hold the election, because there's a subsisting judgment of the Supreme Court which barred every court in this country from stopping an election. If you are uncomfortable with the process of an election, you go to court. That is what happened. Recall that in 1993, what stopped Abiola from becoming was because of Justice Ikpeme's judgment.
And that was when we then
the
came up with
Supreme
Court judgment.
So if you have a grouse about an election, go to court. But let me say something. There's a narrative I want to push. When we finished the election, don't forget that we had that election on Saturday. There was no casualty. Rivers people comported themselves, went to the polls, came out in their numbers, and that process was concluded. On Sunday, the governor swore in the newly elected chairman. But on Monday, and on the swearing-in day, the governor clearly stated, I got an intel, that there was an arrangement to pull 20 persons from across wards to go and do whatever was going to stop the chairman who had been sworn in from entering the councils. So when the fire started coming on Monday, the narrative I want to straighten is that, recall that when the governors of PDP came in solidarity with the governor of Rivers State, and the outburst from the FCT Minister was that any of those governors, particularly the PDP governors who were in sympathy or in sync with the governor of Rivers State, was going to put fire in their various states. And when the fire started coming on Monday, I said, oh, this must be the beginning of the fire. And if you look at the trajectory, if you see what the trail of the fire, you see that in Emohua, the former FCT minister has a staunch man, a man Friday, as a matter of fact. In Enquiry local government, of course, he had the former chairman who is his protege. Then in LMA, you can also imagine. So if you look at it, you can now see that these people are the people who are being used to actualize that fire that is awaiting the rest PDP states. It's a call, it's a wake-up call.
Does the government have proof to this? To say,
no, I said the FCT minister said that he will put fire.
I'm not talking about the fire he said. I'm talking about the former council chairman that you mentioned now.
He said he will put fire, and there is fire. It's not like a witch crying in the night and the baby dies in the morning. So the governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara, is not given to destruction. It's not in his gene. If anything, Nigerians know those who are ready to die for whatever reason. The government is not ready to die for anything.
So my major point in this is the former MOR Council chairman, that would be Chidi Lloyd, Dr. Chidi Lloyd,
yes,
and Dr. Engineer Samuel Wanosike, yes, in Enquiry Council.
Yes,
they've been very vocal about their support for the FCT minister. Beautiful. Quite known. It's an open secret. Are we suggesting that perhaps they have an idea of what could have happened in their council?
I'm not suggesting. They say rap sister look to let the facts on ground prove itself. The FCT minister said he was going to put fire. I'm sure that the governor of Bauchi was one of those who reacted to it, that they have enough water to quench the fire. This one had been following us on Monday. The police stood aloof. Monday was not the election day. Where did the fire service? What did the police do in this whole thing? Don't forget that on Monday morning, the police high command said they had withdrawn the police that had sealed or held the councils, the standby force. Shortly after, we started seeing the resultant effect. It is to say that the precipice for what happened on Monday had the conspiratorial plot by the Nigerian police.
That's going to bring us to the allegation you just made now, because I wanted to bring the conversation about the police later on, but since it's already in sync with what we're discussing, what's the relationship like now? Because for some people, looking at the governor the morning before the elections began and his outburst about the activities of the police, in his words, some would look at it and say, well, this doesn't show that there's going to be some form of good relationship. And prior to that time, we've seen the state government donate vehicles to the police. In fact, he was even saying that the commissioner of police at the time, I think Disu, had suggested that this is the best, instead of this one you want to do this way would work better. And he said it was commendable and those vehicles were donated and all of that.
Correct.
So everybody thought that the police was going to be part of the election. Everything was working fine. And in fact, would not heard the police say anything otherwise until what we saw happened and the comments that came from the governor. At the moment, what is the relationship like between the state government and the police? Especially with the allegations you just made now that, well, the way things happened with the police just leaving the council secretariat and then this happening almost immediately.
It will tell you that maybe the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob. There is a conspiratorial plot. Otherwise, why did the police not stand by? Why didn't the police protect the state? It meant that the whole of Saturday, when elections held all through the 23 LGAs, police looked the other way. Rivers people comported themselves. On Monday, when they were to take over, you say you're withdrawing. And then you just, shortly after you withdrew, they said they're burning the councils. Did the police come to the rescue of anybody? The answer is no. The Rivers people were able to contain the situation.
Do we have police stations close to those secretariats?
There are DPOs in Eleme, Emo, and what do they call it?
Enquiry.
In Enquiry local government. There are DPOs. Every local government has a police command headed by a DPO, a divisional police officer. So, what is the report? Why are those who went to burn government properties and police looked the other way? That's the police that we gave 100 vehicles, 100 Sienna vehicles at a stretch. And then they watched us on the day of election. They said they were not going to participate. All these were the conspiracy that I'm talking about. And that was what gave their front to those who came out on Monday to do what they were, to do what they did.
So with the new commissioner of police, has there been any meetings? What's going to happen forward?
It just assumed duty yesterday.
Has the police said anything about investigations to unravel what's happening with regards to what we saw?
There's not even a statement from the police. Not a statement from any command of the police, either at the divisional level or at the state level. No response, no reaction.
Now that you said this, I'll also take us back. What about reports? I was asking this morning during the newspaper review. It said, well, the police would also have to give us information about the attempted the attack or failed explosion attack, the hotel presidential, that led to one of the victims losing an arm, I think.
We have so many things hanging on the shoulders of the police.
Has there been any questions
that case,
in that direction from the state government to find out what's happening?
Don't forget that on the 30th of October last year, the governor's life was attempted by the police, not an outsider. I was on the march from the Moscow Road end as we were approaching the River State Assembly. The police confronted the governor. The event that happened on Friday, wee hours of Friday, was led by divisional police office, a deputy commissioner of police in Rivers State, in conspiracy with the police headquarters. The first headquarters came. Those were the people who attempted to get into RISEC to cut away materials. So you can see that the contention is not just with political parties. There is a cohesion, force of cohesion that is part of it, and coming from known structure that is in this contest. So I wouldn't know whether there's a relationship. If you were to be on this side of it, do deductive reasoning and see whether the police had been fair to us or not. Police occupied the secretariat for 3 months. They said they were waiting for court order. Which order asked them to leave on Monday? If I sit with the police PRO, I'll ask her, which order did you get from the court? Because you said you were waiting for the court to give you order. Suddenly on Monday morning, you woke up and said you were going. You sent releases. Shortly after you left, mayhem started, and you didn't do anything.
All right, we'll take a short commercial. There's still plenty to talk about. Remember, if you are not watching on Facebook at the moment, then you're missing a lot. At Nigeria Info 92.3 PH on Facebook. We'll be back.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
continues with the Commissioner of Information, who is live with me here in the studio. And I've said to you, if you are not watching on Facebook, then you're missing quite a lot. You don't have an excuse. You can listen, watch, and make your contributions wherever you are. Get on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Join the live stream. Click on the share button. The Commissioner has said quite a lot in the first half of the conversation. If you missed it, you can rewind online and watch again. On YouTube, we're also live at Nigeria Info PH. So I have people watching from Abuja, people watching from parts of the north and other parts in the south online. So yes, you too can be part of them. On YouTube, Nigeria Info PH. On Facebook, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Quickly, we'll come back to the Commissioner to respond and say a few more things in reaction to what was said by the FCT Minister in his interview yesterday. But first, I'd like to play something he said. The FCT Minister, at the beginning of all of what's happening in the state, the structure had been what was highlighted to be, well, if not, maybe not confirmed, but was highlighted to be a major reason for the dispute. Well, this was what was said by the FCT Minister when asked, what then is the problem between himself and the governor of Rivers State?
Point is that he had a problem. He plotted a coup to remove the Speaker of the State House of Assembly. And the thing went right against him.
So it's not between you, it's not a personal political issue.
Listen,
it's not about demand and supply.
Demand of what? Of what?
Of resources.
No, please. By the grace of
because
God.
That's what politics...
No, Sharon, by the grace of God today, I'm the Minister of FCT.
All right. So he says that's the reason given by the FCT Minister for what is happening in the state at the moment. Is that what the case is?
Well, we're yet to hear the last of it. The reason being that the thing I know during the press conference His Excellency, the former governor, had was that Governor Fubara was trying to take over his structure. Just like you have rightly said, that he wanted to take over his structure. Yesterday again, he said the problem was that Governor Fubara plotted a coup to remove the former speaker, Martin Amehule. That's far from it. It was actually the Martin Amehule group who plotted to impeach the governor. And that's known to all the social media and traditional media platforms across the country, that there was an attempt on the 30th of October to remove the governor. And the governor asked what was his offense. That question had not been answered up till now. And that's the beginning of the genesis of this whole problem. It was not the governor in this instance who plotted. How can the governor...
So why did the FCT Minister say that the reason is because...
How can the governor plot to remove a speaker?
So the FCT Minister is not telling the truth.
Who plotted the conspiracy? That's what I talk about, conspiratorial plots. Part of what they had in the hatchet was to remove the governor and bring whoever they wanted. Perhaps in this case, since it didn't work, but let me even rely on the facts, do a lot of deductive reasoning that it would have meant to either remove the governor and the deputy governor and put the speaker then as the governor of the state, because they felt that they had fallen out of favor. So to say that the governor was the one who plotted it is far from the truth.
So the governor, from what the FCT Minister said, the governor plotted to remove the speaker at that time. And if that did not work, is that why we are seeing what we are seeing now in Rivers State?
It failed on the 30th of October. That attempt failed completely. That is why they are still trying to kick, to try to see how they can scuttle this government. That's why we find all the distractions. But the good thing going for us was the mistake of even defecting. That defection put a small dent on the Amehule group. That's what they're struggling to see how they can bounce back.
No, they said they're still members of the PDP.
Are they honorable then? I was with them before Mr. President on the 18th of December last year when we went for the 8-point proclamation. They came as members of APC. The amount of short judgment that they are flaunting, They swore to an affidavit that they were members of APC. They went to the Halo chambers, read their resignation letters. Are they still honorable?
All right. Before we open the phone lines, the panel of inquiry, that was also something that was raised. And the FCT Minister responded differently. So you say you know the people that have done this. Why not go and arrest them?
The panel will unravel that. Now, why is he bothered about it? I overheard him last night also saying that he was going to put his lawyers to go and challenge it in court. If you know they chop goat or dog, no take teeth, share them for people with the chop. If you have no hand in all that is happening, allow the process to run. He's a lawyer. He knows what the panel of inquiry will do. So why are we trying to sex them up and make it look as if panel of inquiry this is the first time it's happening? The governor has put it together and it will work, and it has a time limit of 1 month to submit its findings.
Let's open the phone lines, take a few calls. Also on Facebook, to be unfair, let me start with Facebook and take a few comments here. Good morning. Concerning the expectations from the police in Rivers State under the new commissioner, my expectations are very low. Sukari says we don't want to talk. The former governor is just telling lies. His media plot to make things appear the way he wants has been long dead. Gordon Agwanwo says the expectations of the police in Rivers State under the new commissioner, well, it is very low. Justice Ori says, what offense did the governor commit to warrant blaming him local government arson attacks? The FCT Minister should call his loyalists to order because it is disturbing the state. Keep the messages coming in. We'll take as much as we can on the show this morning. Ogo Jonah Justice said, what's the plan of the state government? As the FCT Minister described the panel of inquiry as rubbish and orders his lawyers to stop it, the state government should be more legally proactive. All right, let's go to the phone lines quickly. Expectations from the new commissioner of police. You've heard my guest and his opinion. Say so far, the new commissioner of police is new. Meetings have not been held, but you've heard his position about the operations and activities of the police in recent times in Rivers State, even going back as far as last year when all of this disunity politically started. What is your own opinion? We'll start with Jude in Omuma. Try as much as possible to be civil and keep your contributions precise. 0817-923-0007. Jude, good morning.
We're talking about the structure. For me, political structure lasts forever. As soon as he's leaving office, they're handing over their structure to another person. So that can simply be described as big. So he has something else. He is not the first governor in Rivers, and we never did. Other people handed over their structure to him. Let me recall. He was
Jude, to be clear, the FCT Minister did not mention structure. He said there was an attempt by the governor to impeach Martin Ameule, and that was what has led to what we're facing now. That's the issue.
Yeah, but then we know that he has been talking about the structure. If he never mentioned it this way, unless he never mentioned it.
Jude, unfortunately, we're struggling to hear you, so I would have to move on to another caller. It's not really clear from your end. Good morning, Braid from Elelewon.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay.
Also, good morning to the guests in the studio. My name is Chief Comrade. I am.
Good morning.
Yes. The statement dedicated to the FCT Minister. Well, I want the FCT Minister to leave it on the pause. It's not good to dabble here and dabble here because the FCT Minister is the one that elected the governor of Rivers State, Nana Joseph. I want to say the small boy, the power that has been sent on him. If we use the power, you will know that it's not a small boy. Today, why must the FCT Minister challenge that small boy? Martin Ameule was one of the people that orchestrated the issue in Rivers State, who started an impeachment further concerning the governor without even sending to the chief judge for committee to be set up. They started an impeachment, and the House of Assembly was deserted before the eyes of the Commissioner of Police. And where would such a matter go to where the Commissioner of Police, IG, is interested in the matter. And also, you see where public jurisdiction taking different judgments. I think the FCT Minister should be able to come down and have a synergy with the Joseph Cobra, not to jeopardize the life of the river people. Because look at the life that has been lost. Look at things that have been destroyed. Which money are they going to use to replace those things? Money on the local government?
All right, Braid, thank you. Let's go to Rubik Bowl quickly. JJ, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Let me get together in the studio.
Good morning.
I'll tell you for free that so-called impeachment that the former governor talked about Amen Willis being impeached and all those is just another thought and a small screen. Andrew, do you know the Odakwa Secretariat? The Odakwa Secretariat says with the police commander special area shot for over 45 minutes around the Odakwa area and the police didn't come to know who is shooting. And you're telling me there's no conspiracy between them? Andrew, are you aware? This is my personal experience. When I was at my police voting on Saturday, the DPO of Mukorom drove Sienna that was given to him by the former chairman, George Alolo, and the Sienna that was given by our governor came with 14 boys, came and 10 people out of the police unit. Is it the police you want now to come and to fight between people that are to the sources? These are things that I don't know. So, as far as I'm concerned, the statement made by the governor that there's no law, court order and all those. My God.
All right, JJ, thank you very much. Let's go to Elena. Stanley's on the line. Stanley, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes, I've been listening to your guests in the studio who have been discussing the issue of weakness, saying our leader saying that he will put fire in states, in PP states. I want to say that if you did watch or listen to Wiki on trend yesterday, you see where or you I just say that he did condemn the action that took place in River State. Putting fire on PDP states has nothing to do with burning down local government headquarters in the state. That's not what Wiki means or what he means. Talking about putting fire on other states, if you touch my structure, I have the capacity to also touch your structure. That's what Wiki is talking about. It's not putting fires. Please, let's go in the studio. They should stop firing Wiki. Anyone that will rise up, they'll be Wiki in order to gain favor for the government. The same people didn't work with us in the election. They were nowhere to be found during the election. Today, because it's Wiki, the same for most of them is not from Nigeria. Today, the people who serve
Stanley, it's Governor Fubara. Thank you. So if you're speaking about the governor, you have to address him properly with respect. Governor Fubara. And the FCT Minister is a minister, so you can include that minister, or you even say former governor. If saying FCT Minister is an issue, you can say former Governor Wike or FCT Minister. Thank you. Magnus is in Mount 3. Good morning, Magnus.
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
Great to see you.
Good morning.
I want to say that the issue having the River State is that we don't have sportsmen and sportwomen or statesmen or stateswomen in the state. You go to Lagos State, the sitting president today lost election in Lagos State. Nobody carried placard or organized protest that people must become this or people must become this in Lagos State. Lagos State is moving forward in development and other things. Why? River State moving backward. There are some people that have not decided to do something good in the state. We have people that are in the state that don't have some interest of the people that have. What we are saying is personal interest and personal things. Until we begin to the interest of the state and the road at heart as government or as a people, don't have this state moving forward.
All right, Magnus.
Go to Abia State. Abia State was not like this. But go to Abia because people have resolved to move forward. What happened to River State? All these secretariat was born for Monday. Whose money are they going to use to repair them? They use to repair the cultural rivers, man and woman. But we don't need things.
Magnus, thank you. Unfortunately, we have to wrap it up there with you. We're struggling to hear you, although you managed to get some of the things you're saying, and we have about 4 minutes left on the clock. How can a former governor say what is not true and imply that the governor planned to remove Martin Amaewule as speaker? I urge the governor to ensure that those who destroyed the councils be punished. Isaac, you sent that message. This person is Michael Yeneka. I say, if he made the cause of the crisis is linked to a coup against the speaker, then why is he the one shouting and granting interviews on the crisis? Is the speaker not strong enough to fight his own war if what he's saying is true? It should be a leader that carries himself with a lot of respect, like the president is doing. Another person says, Soki Fubara says, the reason for the political problem in Rivers State is very unclear. Governor Fubara, I doubt, has come out open to say this, and that is actually what is the problem. Let's support the governor to deliver good governance. Another one from Minima, quickly. Good morning, please. The Honorable Commissioner said it all is absolutely spot on. Says Andrew, good morning. Even the former chairman of IDA out the West East said it openly. Okay, I don't have any facts about that, so unfortunately we can't take that. This one says, good morning. Let's see if we can take one more. Good morning. The governor said he doesn't need the police and shocked that you did not play that, Jerry. Okay, I think we explained, we got, that's how we started the show, so maybe you did not listen from the beginning. Go back on Facebook and listen to the whole thing. The Commissioner for Information was trying to clarify that the governor did not come out and do a press briefing or had a meeting to say, I don't need the police. There were events that were happening that led up to that point, which was a day before the election, where he said, if you want to follow a court order that says you should not provide security, it did not say stop the election. Or if you don't want to be part of the election, then don't worry, we don't need you, keep your security. It was a context. I think that was what we're trying to clarify. It was a context for the election. And if you go back online, you would hear the Commissioner for Information addressing that. I just have to summarize because we don't have time. Let me quickly come back to the Commissioner now. We have less than 2 minutes. Let's get your response to some of the callers and anything extra.
When the governor appeared on a television station and talked about the president, not just mentioning only his name in this whole context. I think that also that the police who ought to be at the center of the blame is not there. And they also know that there are other unseen hands that were part of it. So to even assume that the governor, no man can destroy his house. There's no way the governor could have set any of the councils ablaze. And to watch 3 councils being burnt, and even an attempt on the Obiakpo own, which is just like one of the callers mentioned, is to tell you that there's a conspiracy by the Nigeria police. I put every blame on the Nigeria police because if they could leave a whole state unpoliced on Saturday, it tells you that anything that could have happened on that Saturday would have been to every man to your tent, O Israel. But nothing happened on Saturday, only on Monday after the swearing in. But
I'm pretty sure the police should have been duty bound to do something on Saturday if it wasn't about the election.
By our constitution, the police job is to protect lives and property, whether lives of the enemy or lives of their friends. But in this case, they ignored it.
We have to wrap it up here. Honorable Commissioner, thank you. Hello, Port Harcourt is next. Good morning.
Not one person has been arrested.
Attention, everyone in Port Harcourt and